According to General Hospital spoilers, Michael Corinthos will be introduced to a new romantic interest. Will a new romance emerge following Sasha Gilmore Corbin's departure? When Rory Gibson took over the role of Michael, fans instantly began wondering who the character will be matched with. For a while, it appeared that Michael and Sasha were about to form a family unit with Daisy Gilmore, Wiley Corinthos, and Amelia Corinthos. Of course, Sasha's choice to leave town with Daisy disrupted that plan. It's unfortunate since Sasha had such synergy with Gibson's portrayal of Michael, but the show must go on. Despite the hatred between Michael and Willow Tate, many fans still sense chemistry between them. Willow and Michael share a spark in scenes together, even if it isn't romantic at the moment. There's always the possibility that Michael and Willow will reconcile someday when things are less contentious. However, it is clearly not going to happen anytime soon. Michael is upset with Willow right now, and Sasha isn't an option as long as she stays off the canvas. Could all of this lead to Michael finding a new love interest in the near future? Fall will be here before you know it, so it's an excellent time to bring a new woman to the canvas and let her get to know Michael. It could pave the way for some autumn love to emerge as the summer tumult subsides. By the time Willow's eyes are open to Drew and she recognizes the gravity of her sins, Michael may have fallen deeply for someone else. That revelation could exacerbate Willow's regrets in the end. Now that Gibson has had some time to settle into the character, fans may readily accept Michael in a new relationship. Do you hope Michael finds a new love interest in the coming months? According to General Hospital teasers, Michael will eventually make changes to his romantic life, so stay tuned. General Hospital spoilers for Monday, July 21st, state that Jason Morgan will want to speak with Britt Westbourne, while Jack Brennan's strength astounds Jocelyn Jacks. Carly Spencer is also in for a surprise, so there will be plenty of excitement on the ABC soap. For starters, it appears that Deception will make another appearance at Home and Heart. Brooke Lynn Quartermaine may be wondering what they'll do without Lois Cerullo to pitch their items on camera. Lucy Coe will reassure Brooke Lynn that she has everything under control before delivering a stunner. Could someone unexpected step in for Lois? Or will Lucy surprise Brooke Lynn by bringing Lois back into the mix? Dante Falconeri and Anna Devane will explore Jocelyn's involvement with the WSB and question if she knows what she's getting herself into. As for Jocelyn, she'll get some advice from Vaughn, who may regard Brennan as untouchable. Jocelyn will worry whether Vaughn is implying Brennan can do whatever he wants and get away with it, and Vaughn may claim that is precisely what he means. Brennan will turn on the charm at the Metro Court pool and surprise Carly with a romantic day. Carly will be perplexed as to why Brennan is so fond of her. Brennan will continue to play the role of a devoted lover, but Carly would be furious if she discovered all of his lies concerning Jocelyn. Nonetheless, Brennan will keep those truths hidden and debate what his future with Carly might be. According to other GH teasers, Jason Morgan will try to thwart Britt Westbourne's flight. After capturing the attention of an airport staff, Jason will stress that he needs to talk with a passenger on that plane right away. Of course, the employee could argue that it is too late and shut Jason down. There's no proof that this Britt is genuine, but Jason will reminisce about her and hope to find a way to get some answers. According to General Hospital spoilers, Jason will learn about some exciting developments as the tale progresses, so stay tuned. General Hospital spoilers offer 3 must-see scenes in the week of July 21st, 2025. Fans can expect Jason Morgan to think of Britt Westbourne. Isaiah Gannon encourages Portia Robinson. In addition, there is turbulence at Drew Kane and Willow Tate's wedding. Continue reading and let's discuss what's coming up on the ABC soap show. Jason Morgan's nostalgia. Let's start with Jason, who recently released Sasha Gilmore Corbin and Daisy Gilmore Corinthos. Jason thought he saw a woman who looked exactly like Britt as he was about to leave the airport for Port Charles. Jason is aware that Britt has died, but he may be unable to remove the image from his mind. Isaiah Gannon's encouragement over at the hospital. Portia has convinced Curtis Ashford that she must confess in order to avoid Drew's continuing blackmail. Curtis wasn't sure, but Portia was correct. It is the only way to prevent Drew from forcing her to do horrific things, as well as anyone else from doing the same in the future. Isaiah and Portia have a chat. I am not sure whether she will tell Isaiah the facts. She could simply claim she did something immoral and illegal. In any event, Isaiah will urge Portia to do the right thing. Drew Kane and Willow Tate's wedding drama. General Hospital spoilers for the week of July 21st reveal that another must-see moment is the wedding drama between Willow and Drew. Remember Willow's smirk after learning Daisy and Sasha had been gaslit? Liesl Orbrecht noticed it. Liesl alerted Nina Reeves that something was seriously wrong with her kid. Then Liesl advised Nina that they needed to cut the tie right now. So it sounds like Liesl has a plan which could take place at the wedding. Perhaps Liesl will reveal that Drew slept with his bride's mother. Jen Sidwell will make a statement during the week of July 21, 2025. While Sidwell will do everything he can to save Marco Rios, he will also get revenge on Sonny Corinthos once his kid is safe. So the mob war is far from over. How many more lives will be affected by Sidwell and Sonny's determination to gain control? General Hospital spoilers are available for Thursday, July 17, 2025. In tomorrow's episode, Lulu Spencer will attempt to guide Dante Falconeri. Felicia Scorpio issued a warning. Additionally, Professor Henry Hank Dalton makes a vow to Jocelyn Jacks. Continue reading to learn more about what will happen in the next episode of ABC's soap opera. Lulu Spencer's advice. Let's start with Lulu and Dante, who will have a heated conversation regarding their son. Lulu is terrified that Rocco Falconeri learned about Britt Westbourne before they could explain. Rocco is angry and has contacted Liesl Obrecht. Before we get to Rocco, let's discuss Dante and Lulu's conversation. It is implied that the characters will collide. Then in a preview clip, Lulu fiercely pushes Dante to take action to reclaim his kid. Rocco Falconeri's meeting. Next we have Rocco, who will meet someone. Sitting at a public table, Rocco says to an unknown visitor, "You came." That sounds like Liesl, who Rocco emailed last Friday. Rocco will want to know more about Britt. So I'm wondering if Thibault's return could represent new flashbacks in Rocco's story. Nina Reeves punished. General Hospital spoilers for Thursday, July 21st show that Nina Reeves will pay the repercussions of her behavior. In a preview clip, Sonny Corinthos storms into an office and demands to know why Nina lied to the media about him. Then Sonny is asked to make a sacrifice. It's unclear if Nina asks this of the mob boss or someone else. Thursday, July 17, 2025. Anna Devane has a favor to ask someone. Meanwhile, Felicia Scorpio softly begs someone to drop this. Given the current scenario with Drew Kane and Jacinda, I'm wondering if Felicia is alluding to that. There is also Jocelyn, who leaps into action. The preview film next shows Joss, who appears shocked, listening to Hank. The professor will inform the WSB agent that the exciting work is going to start soon. This may compel Jocelyn Vaughn and Jack Brennan to make some more aggressive and quick moves. Which narrative are you most looking forward to witnessing on Thursday, July 17, 2025? Michael Corinthos has experienced his share of heartache. For years he had carried the weight of sadness, loss, and tangled love. His connection with Willow had brought him both tremendous delight and soul-crushing agony. Even as the two attempted to make their marriage work, fractures expanded into fissures, prompting both to question whether their partnership was genuinely designed to last. Michael, however, has always been a forward-thinking man, steadfast, strategic. His ability to recover from tragedy and treachery was one of his finest qualities. And now, in the aftermath of Sasha Gilmore's tearful departure from Port Charles, which had left more than one broken heart in its wake, whispers had begun to circulate. Was Michael now prepared to open his heart to someone new? In the silent aftermath of Sasha's departure, Michael felt a definite shift in the air. He had tried to keep focused on business, delving further into ELQ issues and working behind the scenes with Sonny's growing list of adversaries. Despite his outward stability, those closest to him could tell he was restless. There were times when he appeared lost in thought, his eyes clouded with longing or ambivalence. Michael's loss of Sasha had not been as personal to him as it had been for Cody or Maxie, but her departure left him with a renewed sensation of emotional desolation. He hadn't realized how much he'd missed connection, something genuine, unplanned, and fresh. Brooke Lynn had made a few casual remarks about him needing to get back out there, and Lois had even mentioned the possibility of setting him up. But Michael was not interested in a matchmaking ruse. His type of love never arrived with bells and whistles. It always began with tension, friction, and finally understanding. And there had recently been reports of a strange new face approaching him. Not someone strange or out of place. Someone who was already thoroughly ingrained in the Port Charles community, someone familiar enough to be at ease, yet different enough to disrupt his meticulously planned life. Enter Andrea, a bright, enigmatic woman who was recently hired to assist Ned at ELQ. She was not flamboyant, but she was dominating. She had a subtle confidence similar to Willow's, but her goal was visceral and unashamed. She tested Michael in ways he had not seen in years. Their early interactions were informal boardroom discussions, heated disagreements over quarterly reports, awkward elevator rides with silence and looks. But gradually an underlying stream began to emerge. He found himself looking forward to her meetings, staying a bit longer during late-night work sessions, and reading more into the short grins she gave as she exited a room. Andrea was different from Sasha. Sasha had been compassionate, sensitive, and emotionally open, but she was also deeply traumatized. Michael admired her fortitude and for a time, felt compelled to shield her from the world. But Andrea didn't need saving. She was a storm unto herself. She reminded him of a younger Carly. Independent, resourceful, and quietly observant. That similarity should have scared him off, but instead it piqued his interest. Nonetheless, Michael was wary. His track record in relationships was littered with pitfalls, and his current predicament with Willow remained unsolved. Though they had grown emotionally separated, their mutual respect and affection lingered like smoke from a fire. Their co-parenting efforts were strong, and they stood together for the sake of Wiley and Amelia. But love, the type that consumes, stimulates, and alters the rhythm of your heart, had long passed. Michael had stopped asking Willow if she was pleased. He already knew the answer. There were times when he stood on the Courtemain terrace, staring at the city skyline, wondering what might happen next. Can he afford to love again? Could he handle the consequences if things did not work out? He'd seen how quickly things might unravel, promises transformed into lies. But then he'd remember Andrea's giggle, or how she interrupted him in mid-sentence to make a point, and something in his chest would spark. It didn't take long before others noticed the chemistry. Olivia noticed it first. She pulled Michael aside at a family event and inquired, in her sweet but knowing tone, if there was someone new. Michael evaded, using the standard line about work being his only relationship. But Olivia's eyes sharpened with unmistakable motherly intuition. She didn't press any further, but her quiet was enough. Drew, engrossed with his own issues, raised an eyebrow when he spotted Andrea and Michael leaving a meeting together, laughing in an unprofessional manner. Drew had fought Michael over ELQ control and personal loyalty, but they had established a precarious ceasefire. Michael could see he was assessing the issue, even if he didn't say anything immediately. The true tipping point came one Friday evening, after everyone else had left ELQ. Michael had stayed late to finish a presentation, only to discover Andrea in the boardroom alone, studying papers by lamplight. The gentle glow on her face, the subtle rustle of paper, the clarity in her gaze, all hit him at once. For a minute he just stood there watching her. She looked up and saw him looking. "I didn't realize anyone else was still here," she admitted with a sneaky smile. "I could say the same," he said, entering the room. They discussed work, their mutual concerns with Ned's constant micromanagement, and eventually nothing in particular. Hours passed and neither of them noticed. Then, in the calm gap between discussion and silence, Michael stretched out to hold her hand. It wasn't really romantic, but there was something. Neither of them pulled away. The days that followed were filled with awkward moments. They didn't talk about that night. Their interactions grew more formal again, as if they were both reluctant to admit what was gradually brewing between them. Michael was torn. He didn't want to get into something only for the sake of comfort or curiosity. Nonetheless, the more he attempted to suppress his emotions, the more they gnawed at him. He eventually confided in Carly. It was an unusual move. Michael normally kept his personal life out of his mother's reach, knowing her proclivity to meddle. But this time he needed some perspective. Carly listened, nodded, and withheld instant judgment. "You're allowed to be happy, Michael," she stated simply, "even if it doesn't look the way you expected." This resonated with him. Willow sensed the widening gap between them. She didn't confront him directly, but one evening as she tucked Amelia into bed, she looked at Michael and asked, "Are you all right?" It wasn't about logistics or family, but about him. He hesitated and then nodded. She didn't believe him, but she didn't insist. Perhaps she did not want to know the truth just yet. Port Charles had always been a city of second chances and broken aspirations. Relationships rose and fell like the tides. People returned from the dead. Betrayals were forgiven, and sometimes celebrated. So the concept of Michael meeting someone fresh after everything he'd been through wasn't surprising. It was inevitable. The question was whether he was willing to lean into it. Andrea and Michael discovered new reasons to collaborate throughout time. More silent stares, more hidden laughs. When their hands brushed, it no longer felt like an accident. When she sent him a coffee just the way he liked it, it was more than a gesture. It was the beginning of familiarity. When she questioned one of his suggestions in front of the board, he respected her bravery, even if he was frustrated. It was not love. Not yet. But it was beginning. And perhaps that was just what Michael needed. Not a great epic romance. Not another tragedy. But a spark, true, inconvenient, and unexpected. Something to help him feel more alive. Sasha's departure has left a void in the community, and in many hearts. In its aftermath, however, something new was taking root. Michael's narrative was not finished. And whether he admitted it or not, he had already begun writing the first lines of his next chapter. Jason stood at the edge of the hospital corridor, arms crossed and jaw tense. The sterile lights above did nothing to relieve the chill that had settled deep within his bones. The only sounds he heard were the occasional nurse cart rattling past and the distant murmur of voices in rooms down the hall. However, Jason was not there for idle talk or patient updates. He had one focus, one person he needed to speak with: Britt. The tension between Jason and Britt had been growing for weeks, ever since the revelations about Brennan began to emerge. Jason knew Britt was holding back, ducking him anytime he got too close to the things she discovered. But it had gone too far. Brennan's influence had already reached too many people he cared about. And if Britt knew anything, she was going to tell him. He saw her near the nurse's station, stooped over a file and seeming to be buried in it. She too saw him, her eyes flickered up and down in quick succession. But Jason wouldn't let this go. He approached her, his voice low and forceful. "We should talk. Now." Britt stood up slowly, her attitude perfectly neutral, but Jason could see a glimmer of tension in her eyes. "I'm working," she responded calmly, but her tone lacked confidence. Jason did not budge. "It's not about your rounds. It is about Brennan. And I believe you understand what I am saying." She paused for a bit. Then, without saying anything, she escorted him into an empty conference room and closed the door behind them. Jason turned to face her as soon as it snapped shut. "I know you're scared," he continued. "But if Brennan has the kind of authority I believe he does, people should know. I need to know. He's already pursued Sonny's turf. He's manipulating everything from behind the scenes. And if you know anything that will stop him, now is the time." Britt leaned against the table, arms folded and eyes blank. "Do you think I don't want to stop him? Do you think I'm unaware of his capabilities? I've witnessed it firsthand, Jason. He isn't just a power-hungry thug. He has connections, deep ones. Medical, financial, and legal. People are afraid of him for a reason." Jason's gaze sharpened. "So what is he doing in Port Charles? What does he want?" "I believe he's come to clean up the past," Britt answered slowly. "He has a history with some of the folks here. People who are privy to information that he does not want revealed. He is tying up loose ends. And based on what I've seen, he's willing to burn everything down if that's what it takes." Meanwhile, across town, Jocelyn stood transfixed in the Corinthos' living room, phone in hand, eyes wide with shock. She just received a text from someone she hardly knew. A quiet source she'd met in journalism class, who had hinted at dirt on Brennan weeks ago but had since gone radio silent. However, the message he had just sent made her stomach drop. "Brennan is not who you think. He owns the judge. He owns the cops. He owns the DA. Be careful who you trust. They're all watching you." She glanced at the screen, rereading it several times. It wasn't pure paranoia. Brennan's influence was not just expanding. It was already pervasive throughout Port Charles. Jocelyn had previously dismissed Carly's warnings, but now it felt as if she was seeing the walls close in around her. Her thoughts raced as she moved around the room. Had she already fallen into a trap with every decision she made and every person she confided in? She did not want to call her mother. She did not want to appear paranoid. But when something so large hit you in the face, there was no room for pride. The front door opened and Carly came in, immediately grounding the room. She took one look at Jocelyn's face and placed her purse down, a knot growing in her chest. "What happened?" she asked. Joss handed her the phone without speaking. Carly received the message and felt her breath catch. She knew Brennan was dangerous. Anyone who navigated through Sunny's environment with such subtlety and accuracy couldn't be ordinary. But the implication here was different. This was not about territory or control. This was about corruption on a larger scale than Carly had thought. "I think you need to get out of town for a while," Carly replied, her tone low and serious. Josh shakes her head. "No, I'm not running. Mom, I've already begun digging. I have files and connections. There is more here than what the text says. Brennan is not only dangerous, but also protected. If we can prove it." "Then you've put a target on your back," Carly shouted. "Do you think this is a school newspaper story? This man is capable of making you disappear. He could make me disappear." "I know," Jocelyn said softly, her eyes filled with sadness. "But somebody needs to do something. And I've already begun." The tension between them grew as a mother and daughter debated how far to go and how much risk was acceptable. Carly wished to protect her. Always had. But Jocelyn had inherited her mother's fire, and she wasn't about to give it up just because it was hazardous. Carly moaned and slumped into the couch, hiding her face in her hands. "You have no clue how many times I've had the same nightmare. Secrets. Enemies. Watching my family pay the price because someone out there thought we were in the way. I'm not trying to be a hero," Jocelyn explained quietly. "I'm just trying to be a part of the solution." But Carly's thoughts weren't limited to Brennan or the threat to her daughter. She had gotten a separate note earlier that day, which she hadn't shared with anyone yet. It was a mysterious note left at Kelly's, scrawled in pen on a napkin. "You believe you have seen the worst of him. You have not. Meet me in the warehouse at midnight. Come alone." No signature. No initials. But Carly had a nagging suspicion that it had come from someone within Brennan's operation, someone with misgivings. She hadn't told Jason or Drew because she was unsure whether it was a trap. But as the hours passed, she became increasingly unable to ignore it. There was too much at stake. And just maybe this will be the key to ultimately revealing the truth. That night, Carly slipped out, clothed in black clothes and remaining in the shadows. She arrived at the warehouse just before midnight, heart thumping. The place was unusually silent. The air was dense with silence, interrupted only by the occasional creak of metal or trill of crickets in the distance. Then a figure emerged from the shadows, hooded and tall, yet with a recognizable walk. Carly's heart jumped. "You." He pulled back the hood. It was Dex. "I didn't want to do this through text," he told me. "There are too many eyes on phones right now. But you were correct. Brennan has his hands in everything. His dealings run all the way up the chain." Carly looked at him. "So why are you telling me this now?" "Because someone is going to take the fall. Someone innocent," Dex responded. "He's already setting it up. A shooting occurred. A framing job. It's going to appear that Sunny ordered it, but he did not. Brennan is trying to obliterate Sunny's legacy piece by piece. And if you don't act quickly, it will be too late." Carly felt the blood drain from her face. "Who is he framing?" Dex paused. "Michael." A flood of terror and rage swept through her. "No, not my son. He's gone. He has stayed away from the business." "It doesn't matter," Dex interrupted. "All Brennan needs is someone near enough to Sunny to make the story stick. And Michael, he's perfect. He has a motive. He has a name." Jason returned to the hospital and stood by Britt's office window, peering out at the city below. He got more out of Britt than he expected, but it wasn't enough. Brennan's dominion resembled a hydra. One head was severed, and two more grew in its place. However, Jason now had something he lacked previously: a name, a target, a direction. He turned to Britt, who appeared pale but determined. "If Brennan tries to frame Michael," Jason continued, "he'll have to go through me first." As Jocelyn sat alone in her room, the contents of the text replaying in her thoughts. She had no idea someone had slid a new envelope under her door. Inside was a blurry black and white photograph from a surveillance camera. It showed Brennan meeting with someone wearing a judge's robe. On the back, a single line read, "They buried the last truth teller. Don't be the next." However, Jocelyn was no longer terrified. The time for fear has passed. Now it was all about justice. Now it was all about battle.